Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to talk about this new upcoming product that we have from AVPro Edge. It's something that a lot of you guys have been requesting. My name is Tom Devine. I'm here with Jim Burns. Jim is going to be our trainer today. But before he jumps into the actual training, I did just want to cover some housekeeping things with all of you. I'm going to be in the questions area. So on your GoToWebinar control panel, you have a questions and you can type in whatever you want, and I can pass those to Jim, or if I can answer them, I'll definitely try to just answer them right there. But today we're going to go over the multi-viewer. As I said, okay, it looks like everybody else is coming in and saying we can hear. So Craig, I'll definitely try to message you here and see if you can adjust your settings. Looks like we are coming through. So, but this is a long-awaited product. So we wanted to make sure that we give all the data here for you. Jim's gonna run you through not only the product, but how it works and how you guys can configure those 4 sources that get connected. So without further ado, yeah.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
all
no
right.
problem.
So let's start talking through this. And what's cool about this product is there's more here than meets the eye. So, you know, at AVPro, we don't sell pieces of the integration puzzle, we sell solutions. So here's a problem. What if your client wants to watch multiple March Madness games at once, right? Very topical issue right now. What if you're tasked with designing a commercial command and control system? Lots of those out there. What if you need to switch audio and video separately? What if you need a standalone multi-view solution for HDMI? Well, the solution is quite simple. It is a 4K 4-input multi-viewer. We call it the AC-MV-41. This is a great unit to enhance any system, as well as a pretty good problem solver, and we'll get into the features really soon. As you can see, it's a pretty clean unit. It's a single RU. Let's take a close look at the front and back. On the front panel, you can change the inputs, the tiling configurations, and get information on the audio routing, the IP address of the unit. These buttons are also able to be locked out in the GUI in case you're in an installation where that needs to be done. And on the back panel, we have.
Hey,
yes.
I don't mean to bust in, but I am still seeing the question. So it looks like the slide hasn't moved.
I think we have a slow issue with webinar here today.
Oh, okay. Maybe try unsharing and sharing again, and we'll just.
Yeah, it was a when we started the webinar. Sorry, it took a second for it to actually start. I was surprised. So let's try it.
All right, I can see the slide now. Now we can see the image.
Any better solution? All right, we love it. Okay, so let's take a look now. Can we see a slide change? No slide change?
The slide has changed. Sorry, now I was on mute.
Okay,
sorry.
Awesome. All right. We appreciate everyone standing by. Let's talk about the product again. Okay, so as I said, this is a great enhancement to any system as well as a problem solver. If we take a look at the front panel, on the front panel, we have a few simple buttons out here. It's one RU unit. We have a small OLED display. And from that front display, you can get your IP information for set up your GUI. You can look at your audio and video routing. From these buttons, you can change your inputs and change your tiling presets. These buttons are also lockoutable if you need that. On the back of the unit, we have analog audio in and an analog out with a Phoenix connector. We have the Phoenix connector and the RCA pigtails packaged in the unit, so you don't have to buy anything else. And we have a loop in and a loop out for our HDMI inputs. And on the output, we have an analog out, an SPDIF out, and an HDMI out, as well as your choice between RS-230 control and LAN control. So what are the features and capabilities of this unit? Well, it is a tiler, so you can do up to 4 images, from 2 to 4 images on the screen. A single image, of course, 2 for switching. We have 4 presets for the layouts. We have custom configurations for your own layouts and memory recall for those layouts. The cool part is, and when we dig into it, this 4x4 audio matrix, which is really an 8x1, depending on what section you're in, is fantastic. Because as you're watching a single 4 images on the screen, you're probably going to want to listen to just one and not have listen to all 4 at the same time. What we can do here is seamlessly switch the audio without changing the video at all. We also have separate audio routing for our output. And given our background, if you know us at all, we are the masters of HDMI and EDID management. That comes from our test industry, our test equipment background in the industry. And we have high quality video scaling and aspect ratio control. This solution is unique in the market with analog audio inputs, extracted audio loop outs, and extracted analog audio output. So with our 4 HDMI loop outs, we can take the audio from any of those signals and output that as the main output or secondary output through those Phoenix connectors. We have analog outputs per input, single HDMI out, which we talked about. The stereo out can be extracted audio or analog in. As you switch, the SPDIF follows the HDMI out. All the analog ins and outs are connected via a matrix switch. So let's talk about this real quick as we look at the back. So we saw we've got the RCA connectors and we've got the Phoenix connectors there. Those are actually all interconnected via an audio matrix. So any analog input can be routed to any analog output, or a single analog input can be routed to all of the outputs. This is, the basic definition of a matrix switch, but this is pretty cool. A lot of reasons to do that with a unit like this. And even in expanding your system, if you've got a small system, small commercial job, car dealership, bar, something like that, where they're going to do some tiling and show it up, you can actually use this to switch completely separate audio from anything that you have running through this unit.
Jim, we had a great question that came in as you're talking about the audio here. One of the MJ had a question: is the analog audio down mixed?
No, the analog audio is not down mixed on this unit. It's extracted. So you will need to set your source for 2-channel audio.
Thank you, Jim.
Most of them are. Most of them are anyway, especially in the commercial market. And if it's not, and if you don't know how to do that from your source, you can actually change that with your EDID setting that we have built into the unit. I'm going to do a live run through of the GUI with this at the end of the presentation. You stick around for that. I will try to remind you how to do that. If I forget, Tom, remind me and I'll show you. All right, so back to the back panel. Our main analog out can be the extracted audio from one of the HDMIs, or like I say, it can be any of these inputs. And then our SPDIF out and our HDMI out follow each other, and then again, they can be an analog or an HDMI source for the input, and you can change those without changing any video source on the screen, without having a glitch, without missing a frame. It's really quite awesome. All right, let's talk about some of the applications that we have for this unit. Live events, IMAG, it's great. Multiview, conference and boardrooms, get a lot of information on the screen. Command and control rooms, and of course, residential. This particular setup here will be very common use for any tiler. 4 inputs, creating a small video wall on a screen, a 2x2. With us using this is all plug and play. You make your connections, hit preset 1, and you are up and running with this exact image. Now, this is a bit of a business application. So this is the main image with 3 pops. So this is a version of our preset number 4, which is our Cascade preset. And along those same lines, if we were to integrate this with our MXNet 1G or MXNet Evolution 2 system, we can do some really cool things with digital signage in the commercial marketplace too. And one of the reasons we chose our specific inputs and outputs for this device was so it couldn't be used standalone with a matrix switcher or with AV over IP. So here's a connection diagram with our tiler hooked up to AV over IP, our MXNet Evolution 2 system. And what we're doing is we're taking our inputs, going directly into the tiler. We're looping those inputs out so we can have each of those individual inputs put into our matrix and also routed separately. And then we have the single multi-view tiler out going into a separate encoder. So this is one way to do it. If you just needed these 4 sources always to be tiled, you would not need these other 4 encoders. You would just need this encoder here. But probably if you're doing a bigger system like this, you're going to want to be able to route these other 4 signals to devices all over the building, the campus, or whatever facility you're in. Now, if you need more than 4 source inputs, no problem. We suggest the AVPro Edge Axion matrix switcher. With that, we can have up to 16 inputs on this multi-view processor. And we just put the matrix switcher in front of these 4 inputs here. So now we can choose and get different images up at a different time, tile only 4 images at a time, but we now have, with this switcher, 7 different images to choose from that we can tile 4 at a time. It expands the use of this unit by quite a bit. So let's dig into our GUI a little bit here and talk about the switching before we talk about some of our tiling presets. So at its base, you take a look at the back, it is a 4x1 HDMI switch. So we can also switch, besides tiling, 1 image at a time on the screen. So it's like a normal switch, 1 full image at a time. We click 1 through 4, we can get all 4 images sequentially. And then we do have our separate audio routing too. That separate audio routing is this matrix. Again, I'll do a demo of this at the end, but we just can pick our inputs and outputs, and any input can go to any output. So let's talk about some possible tiling layouts. Most common, we talked about already, is going to be our 2x2 preset. You can change the size of any of these that you want by overlaying them and choosing different dimensions. You can also do some blanking. You can do stretch, crop, and squeeze. If you've ever used PowerPoint with an exciting presentation such as this, the way you drag and drop images, it works the same way here. So it's very simple and very intuitive to use. Our engineering team did an absolutely fabulous job with this interface. So factory preset 2 is a 1x3 tiling. The screen that we're looking at on the right side here, this is what you see inside the GUI. Again, we'll go through this at the end. This is showing 3 images on the bottom. We're showing it here too. You can obviously move these around wherever you would like. And in this image here, we're keeping the native aspect ratios of all these images. You can, like I say, squeeze, crop as you need. Here's 3x1 tiling. So this is tiling on the side with a main image to the left or right. And here's our factory preset 4, which we call Cascade. And this can be used in any configuration that you want. And we'll show you that in just a little bit. Very important, all of our factory presets can be completely overwritten if you don't need them at all. We can do this graphically by dragging and dropping the shapes and pulling the corners of the images. We can also do this numerically by picking the resolution of the units, our X and Y coordinates, and changing the heights of each of the images. So depending on how you need to interface with the system, we give you a lot of different options. So some configuration examples, we talked about some of these, but we can also give them, you've probably heard of them by separate names. You know, picture in picture is a small picture somewhere on the screen. This is what all the TVs used to have back in my day. It's great right now and in great demand for security cameras in a little corner or a doorbell. Picture by picture is a great commercial solution. We can do a 2x2 picture by picture or a 3x3 picture by picture. The quad view, the 3x1, the 1x3, the cascade, and really any combination of these from 2 to 4 images that you can think of or that your particular need calls for. Here's a quick example of the pop with the security camera. So whatever your main image is, you need to get to a security camera, you need to monitor one at the same time. This is really great. You don't need to go to a special app. You don't need to change screens. You don't need to change inputs. Very useful. Customers just love being able to do this again. So let's talk about the multi-view audio switching. This is a big deal with this unit. So if we're watching this image up here, number 1, and down here we have a football game going on, we'll switch back to that. The football game comes back on. We're like, hey, it's heating up. All we have to do is through our third-party control or through the API, hit our touch screen, and we're going to change and instantly switch that audio to the other frame that we want to see. Again, nothing changes for the video, we just change the audio. get tired of the football game. We've got some baseball here coming on, so we must be watching TV in the fall here when everything's happening. So we can switch over to the baseball again, touch the screen on the API, touch the screen on our controller, and boom, we're off listening to that audio. And this is why we have that matrix switching in the back there too. It gives us a lot of options and a lot of flexibility. All right, we're moving along pretty well. Any questions up to this point? If not, I will hit the demo and we'll take a look at the GUI on this live.
There was one question that came in, and it was, how much latency is added to the signal, primarily for gaming consoles?
Good question. I don't have that off the top of my head, but given that it's scaling, I'm going to say 1 frame.
Yes, I haven't tested it exactly either, MJ, but I can tell you it is very, very quick. And one of the great things about this is you also get seamless. So if you did want to, if you were using it just as a switcher, you could switch from game to game without having any dropout or any black screen as well. But yes, we can get that information for you, MJ, and follow up.
Yeah, it should be, like I say, it should be within a frame. And Tom, you would be the guy to test that. Real world testing here.
That's right. You know it. I'm ready.
Okay, so let's hit to our GUI here. So it starts off, the page you end up at is the matrix. And I named our input sources already. So I have a Meridio 8K pattern generator as our source. We have a Fox and Hound, and we have an Apple TV. So real simple, we're going to switch. We're on the Meridio right now. If I want to switch to the Fox and Hound, I click the Fox and Hound, and then I click my output. That's our 1x4 video switching. Pretty straightforward. Should not be too many questions with that. So our extracted audio or our matrix switching for the analog audio is a little different. So right now I have a single output on every input. And so basically I'm using my audio outs as a loop out at this point in time. But if I wanted my Apple TV to go across every every audio output, not a problem. I just click on them and I'm set. This is just the basic functions, right, of a matrix switcher. That's how it works. All right, if we go to our I/O configuration, you start seeing a lot of AVPro's DNA in here. Like I say, we started as a test instrument company, and what we found is other manufacturers had a hard time implementing HDCP and EDID properly in their devices. So we always have EDID controls built in. So we can change here the type of resolution that we have, and we can also change the audio. So this is where we're talking about the extracted audio. So if I did have a system that was pumping in a 5.1 or 7.1 signal through the EDID, I could change to a 2-channel, and it would force that source, if that force is designed properly, and it should be, to output 2-channel audio. This way I can have that 2-channel extracted audio there. I can enable and disable any of these inputs if I need to. By the way, I'm going through the IP control right now. Everything that you're seeing here, if you have a hole in the firewall or you're using OverSee, you can see remotely from your location without rolling a truck, which can be important because we look on the side here with the signal, I've got 3 green lights and 1 red light. Anyone want to guess what the red light is? I have a problem with input 4. It doesn't see any signal at all. Well, it doesn't see a signal because I don't have anything hooked up to it. So that, if you know you have something hooked up, it should be working. We can take a look at our output. And again, we can change our formats, HDR. This will pass 3D. This will also pass HDR. Also, you're gonna find that to be very unique for a Tyler on the market. And we'll take a look at our green light here. If I unplug the display that I'm hooked up to on the bench, it instantly turns red. So we can find out by rolling the truck that, hey, maybe the display in the room, the cable's unplugged there, maybe the power's out in that section, and hopefully you can talk to your client and you don't have to roll a truck in that particular instance. Now with our extracted audio outputs, again, I can label everything individually. I can enable and disable them, and what I really like is trim pots. So if you're mixing different sources, it's very possible the volume output on one of them is going to be hotter than the rest. If that's the case, take the volume down a little bit on that one, and it'll be much smoother and much nicer when you switch. Also, if one of them sounds a little off, we do have presets in this EQ. With the presets in these EQ, you can change to different formats, right? We'll just set them all for rock and roll and we'll take off from there. We can adjust the balance left and right. And we have delay times in milliseconds individually for every input. And by the way, we also have this for the output. So if something's a little bit off for some reason or another, and there's a constant latency in that system with your audio, we should be able to adjust that here. All right, so on our multi-view audio settings out, the audio mode right now, I've got everything just following the HDMI out. So I can just decide which I'm going to listen to through HDMI. We can again change everything. So here's our choices. We have our HDMIs and our left and right inputs. That's why I say it's an 8x1 switcher for audio. Again, we have a trim pot for the volume if we need to, or if there's not a volume in your system, you're going directly to an amp. Through the API or your system control, you can use this for your volume control for the system. And again, an EQ for the audio out. So system is pretty simple. Oh, it's mad at me. Okay, close. System is pretty simple. It's going to give us our basic information here, our IP address, our subnet mask, serial numbers. You're going to load some firmware here. We have cloud service here. I haven't accepted it. Let's accept it. Enable the cloud services. Cool. We're ready to go. Our IP cloud control, I can change the point number. Enable it, disable it. I can also make it a secure interface if I'd like to as well. And I can have my LCD screen timeout. And it tells me about my software versions here. And of course, updating my firmware, factory reset, and reboot. Under diagnostics, it's going to give me a little information on my sources. And again, we're basically just looking for green lights here. We can make sure the EDIDs are correct. If you have a problem without a picture right away, you'll go up to your matrix, make sure you've got some green lights, and then come over to this page and make sure that you have a resolution for your EDID that is matched to the display that you are on, or matched to the lowest display if you have an output that's going through a DA. You need to go to the lowest common denominator if your output is going through a distribution amplifier. All right, and then we have our console page on here, which you will need if you're going to run any type of diagnostics. You want to make sure it's getting the right RS-232 commands, or if you have something going on and we need to help you with our service department. All right, so we are about coming to the end, and one of the best parts of AVPro is our 10-year no BS warranty. So this unit is guaranteed from us for 10 years. Pretty amazing every time I say it. AVPro is a very dynamic company. We have a lot of solutions at this point in time. If you need any information, please reach out to us. If you have any application questions, please reach out to us. We have offices in Sioux Falls and Florida that would be more than happy to talk to you about your application questions. Our product line has gotten very large and very deep at this point in time. So having an application question, needing to talk to someone, absolutely reasonable. Give us a call. I'm sure we'll have something to solve your problem. All right, do we have any more questions?
Hey, great presentation, Jim. It doesn't look like too many more questions came in. If you guys do have any questions, you can still put them in. I do want to let you know that we're launching this product, so you will be able to find this product online. You can find all the supporting information. This product will be shipping in April. We'll have a specific date on our website when that is available. This gives time for all of our partners and distribution partners able to get stock, so we can all be shipping on the same day. And we are really looking forward to a great year of putting out a lot of products and a lot of solutions that you guys will all want to tune into. So make sure that you're checking out your email and you're following us on social media to ensure that you're getting all those news and updates. It did say, Richard said, I don't see the multi-viewer layout in the GUI. Do you want to bring that up, Jim? That's good question, Richard.
Oh, wow, yeah. My mistake. Okay, so that's going to be here. There's a couple of ways to get to it. So the picture-in-picture and all the processing is off. So through the front panel or through here, and I'll start through here, we can pick one. So here's what we have on here. So this is the 2x2, and you can hit buttons on the front and we'll change page through the different different pages here. So this is our 1x3, our 3x1, and our cascade. So with the cascade, this is a simple one to move. We can just grab what picture we want and adjust its size. What's nice with this test pattern on here, you have references to get it exactly to 16:9 if you need to keep the aspect ratios, or like you say, you need to change it to fill the screen in some special way. Like there are some applications where you're going to use the ticker from one image. You can put that down at the bottom here, and you can move that around, and then we can take this image over here, and we can pull another one up. Oh, and before I forget, I pulled the PowerPoint off. I will save that and drop that. Can I drop that in the notes here, Tom, in the chat for everyone to pick up as a PDF? No. Okay. So very simple. This page is great to use. You can just drag and drop your images here, like I say, and crop them however you want. If you want to have one image over another one, so I've got this bottom image number 3, you can see it's behind 2 and 1. If I want that in front, I can take number 3, prioritize it to 1, and that's now going to go on top of those other images. So that's how you change your stacking. Really super easy to use. If you've taken a look at other people's tilers or used someone else's recently, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the easiest one there is out there to use.
Yeah,
I think we answered Richard's question about the trim pots. The trim pots are per input, and then we also have one on the output.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jim. I really appreciate you going over this with all of us.
Okay, well, thanks. And I will, if you want to hang on a second, I will drop the PDF that I just made into the chat here. So if anyone would like this presentation, you can have it.
Yeah, you can put that right in the handouts thing. There's a handout section, Jim, where you can choose a file. So you can put it right there.
All right, I'll drop that in right now.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And we really appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.